defiantly saying he will not pitch in the bullpen. He also explained, like, last year was different in the postseason. Everybody's got different roles, so he had no problem with it then. He's got a great relationship with Booney. He's got a great relationship with the players. Happy to be here at Yankee camp. It wasn't like some kind of statement he was making. He was just getting his body in shape. He was dealing with stuff in the offseason. He unfortunately lost one of his houses in Malibu. But as far as it goes for the Yankees this year, right now, obviously, Stroman is making $18 million. He's on the outside looking in and said defiantly he will not be pitching in the bullpen.
He's got to go. I mean, the Yankees are out of their minds if they just roll forward with him on the team. So let me ask you this. Is he better than Garrett Cole?
No.
Is he better than Fried?
Well, here's the thing. He stays healthier than Garrett Cole. I mean, Stroman does make those starts.
Cole's had the one year. But since Cole got here, the answer
he's not better than Cole. He's not better than Fried.
Not better than Hill. Not better than Rodon. Not better than Clark Schmidt.
Yeah.
He is not a starting pitcher on this team unless somebody gets hurt. And with that attitude, Sal, I am not messing around. Now, I know it's a little complicated. I didn't have an issue that he showed up a few days, not even late, because that was collectively bargained.
Right.
And when you're a veteran and these things are hammered out legally, then you've got rules. I know that the manager and the organization might not love it. And, yeah, it's not the best look, but he didn't do anything, quote-unquote, illegal. It was a warning flare like, all right, I'm not happy. And now you come in and you tell everybody that let's not lose sight of what Marcus Stroman just told us. He just said basically, well, you heard what he said, but I'm going to translate it differently. If they tell me to go to the bullpen, I'm not going to the bullpen. So now you can go home.
Well, I mean, but they're paying him $18 million.
Then they got to eat it. And if they don't, the Yankees they're asking for trouble.
Well, here's the other part of that. Why would they also send him home when you don't know who's going to stay healthy? Like, camp is a long thing. We heard Garrett Cole got hurt last year before the season started. There's no guarantee that Heel or Clark Schmidt are going to stay healthy, or Carlos Rodon, who's been off injured in his career. And he's not like, if I'm Stroman, I'd be saying the same thing. I'm better than Carlos Rodon. Come on, I make every start that you need. I've been an all-star in this league before. I keep my body in tip-top shape. Carlos Rodon's been awful, and he's getting paid a ton of money. So I don't necessarily disagree with Stroman saying he's a starter. I think he's earned the right to be a starter. The Yankees signed him 2 years ago to be a starter for 2 years. I wouldn't give up an asset just to move on from him because he said he's not going to the bullpen.
I don't think he's very good at this point. And I was okay when the Yankees got him. I really was. Matter of fact, we talked about this, and I thought that he would be a pro. And I wasn't worried about the social media stuff, which has followed him around for a while. And quite frankly, he was good with that last year.
He was a pro last year.
He was a pro.
I still think he's a pro this year. I mean, he just doesn't want. He's not a bullpen arm.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's not his decision to make. He's a pitcher. You know, the designation really is going to come from Boone and the staff and the organization. Now, yeah, I understand strength in numbers, and if he had a different attitude, not that he's got to show up and say, hey, listen, you know, I'm like some 21-year-old rookie. All right, Skip, I'm just happy to be here. I'll do whatever you tell. I understand that he's accomplished a lot in this league. And I understand that he's in a rough spot. I understand that he's got an ego, and I do respect that, okay? But you've got to project better. And if he's projecting this on the first day of camp, then you got to cut the head of the snake and you got to find a new home for him. He can't be on this team.
Yeah, I just don't understand that, though. What is he projecting? He is a starter.
He's telling us he's not going to do a job.
Oh, well, but first of all, we don't even know that they asked him to do that job. They signed, matter of fact, the Yankees. See, this is Brian Cashman's mess. Everybody wants to say, well, the Yankees, they're not going to miss Juan Soto because of the fit now in the outfield. Yeah, that's great. A, good luck with that. B, well, what about the fit in the rotation? So because they missed out on Soto, they go spend more money on another starter. Stop me if you've heard this before. So they have Garrett Cole, top-end starter, paid top dollar. They go get Carlos Rodon to be a number 2. He stinks, so now they have to go get Max Fried to be a number 2. So they have Cole, Rodon, and Max Fried. And by the way, they signed Stroman last year because they needed an arm, and now they're on the hook for him for $18 million this year, which potentially is preventing them from getting a third baseman. So the Yankees built this team poorly. As much as we sit here and give Cashman, throw him the flowers, look at this Yankees team. They're loaded, and they are the best team in the American League. He made this roster the way that it is. I'm not looking to just jettison Stroman, who could be an asset here, because you might need, at some point, the Yankees are going to need a 6th starting pitcher. They're paying him anyway to be a starting pitcher. Now, I'm not saying you don't look for a trade. Clearly, they couldn't find one. Maybe they made a bad deal then signing Marcus Stroman 2 years ago.
Well, but you got to understand, when they brought him in, the circumstances were very different. Number one, they didn't really know what they had with Luis Heel. They didn't know that Clark Schmidt would be quite this good. That's 40% of the starting rotation. Luis Heel won the Rookie of the Year. And Clark Schmidt, if he makes 30-something starts, he's a 15-game winner. He's pretty nasty. And they know that. And obviously, Max Fried, they gave a lot of money to. Max Fried's got electric stuff. We'll see where Garrett Cole is. I still think he's really good. Maybe not quite Garrett Cole, but he's still a stud. And I think you and I go back and forth on this all the time. I know he was awful in the World Series. Carlos Rodon is a functional major league pitcher.
But he's not what they thought they were getting. getting.
But neither is Stroman at this point.
Okay,
Stroman
so
got his brains beat in last year in the second half. He was atrocious.
Well,
he was almost as bad as Severino 2 years ago with an ERA. He was awful.
Well, who brought him here?
Yeah, I understand.
That's my point, though. So Cashman messed up.
So they made a mistake, and they should just double down on this?
No. He made a mistake on Rodon. He made a mistake on Marcus Stroman. And he's got a problem now with the rotation.
No, you think he made a mistake on Rodon. I don't. I think he made a mistake on Stroman.
If Rodon was what he was, they wouldn't have had to go get Max Fried.
What do you think Rodon's numbers were?
How much is getting paid?
Forget about the money for a second.
Did
he strike out almost 200 guys?
Congratulations.
Did he win 15 games?
Congratulations.
On a team that got to the World Series? Now,
would you give him that contract again?
No, but hold on. I wouldn't. But you know why? Because now I see what Louis Heel is, and now I see what Clark Schmidt is, and I would rather take that money and invest it differently. But see, you got to me, I think I would be more angered if the Yankees were just wedging Stroman in there because they gave him the money.
Right.
I actually respect now. They've got to get rid of him. And to get rid of him, you're going to have to eat some money. Because the rest of the major league teams know that Marcus Stroman ain't good. Well, he's not good anymore.
Okay, but then again, either way you want to slice this is Brian Cashman's mess. That's a fact. He brought in Rodon, who they overpaid for him. They had to go get Max Fried. You're saying, well, Stroman's not good anymore. That's great. Then why'd they just sign him? Hey, if I could tell you, and I did tell you this a year ago, before they signed him, this is a mistake. Why are you signing Marcus Stroman? What are you doing? 2 years, $18 million a year, whatever it was. He's on the hook for 18 this year. That's a mistake. So if I could tell you that, why couldn't Brian Cashman and his high-paid staff figure that out for themselves and now find themselves in a little bit of a pickle? But I don't even think it's as bad as you're making it seem. I have no problem with Stroman saying that he's a starter because he is a starter and he was brought here to be a starter. And generally, the things happen throughout the course of the season where you're going to need depth.
Yeah. Well, then you pull the depth from somewhere else. You can't risk the toxicity that he's already projecting. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't put up with it. I don't know what they're going to do. I have no idea. But I want to get back to something you said it's Brian Cashman's mess.
Yes.
So let's examine the mess. Now, Brian Cashman's far from perfect. We've worked together long enough.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
Brian Cashman's mess. They were in the World Series a year ago. Mm-hmm. They're projected to be the best team in the American League this year. And by the way, they've got a top 3 pitching staff in baseball.
Right.
It's not nearly as messy as you make it out to be.
Oh.
What they're doing now is they're reassigning places based on value, and the value of Stroman is no longer commensurate with what they paid him when they brought him. Neither is the rest of their rotation.
They have bad contracts that are preventing them from building a better team.
Well, I mean,
DJ LeMahieu, Marcus Stroman,
I know
Carlos
about
Rodon.
I understand some of these.
But you're overlooking them like it's no big deal because they got to the World Series. That's great. Okay, well, then why can't they get a third baseman this year?
Well,
because a large part of that is they're talking about the money. I didn't talk about the money. They did. So don't blame me.
Is opening day tomorrow?
Yeah. No, but we're getting there. So
I got you. I think that there's a lot of time, and I told you yesterday, I still think they're going to make a real move for Arenado.
Okay, well, let's see it. But we've been hearing about the money. You think Carlos Rodon was a good signing?
I think Carlos Rodon is a lot better than you make him out to be.
No.
He just is. Period. A good signing. Now that's different. That's a different
question.
I'll answer simply.
Do you think Carlos Rodon was a good signing? This is a layup, BT. Take the money.
It's a layup in your mind, and I'm going to be fair to the conversation. I don't think it was a good signing.
He's been
I just answered the question. Sal.
His WAR the last 2 years before coming to the Yankees was 5.1, 5.2. Do you know what it was his first year?
I don't know.
In the negatives.
What did he do last year, Sal?
It was
how many strikeouts?
How
many wins?
Strikeouts for? You thought Rodon was good? Here's what I'll give him.
Give me. I don't have a stats up. What were they?
3.96 ERA.
These had a sub-4 ERA.
A sub-4
How many strikeouts?
168 million.
How many strikeouts?
You're the same guy.
How many strikeouts? 180, 190, what?
195.
200 strikeouts. Sub-4. He's awful.
Yeah,
you know what? I'm gonna change my opinion, Sal.
Yeah.
How about we keep Stroman and we get rid of Rodon? I'm not saying Rodon's Garrett Cole, but Rodon is not a stiff.
I would rather do that. Good luck trying.
What, based on the money?
Yeah, based on everything. I don't think Rodon is any good. Based on that, you think anybody would take Carlos Rodon? You can't even find a taker for Stroman.
I don't want to get rid of Rodon.
Here's where I find it funny. The same people, and by the way, we'll find out how the Mets rotation pans out.
Forget about the Mets. We're talking about the Yankees.
No, but it's relevant here because the way you build a rotation, the way the Yankees have built their rotation, they couldn't get rid of Carlos Rodon if they tried. They can't get rid of Marcus Stroman. They did try. They couldn't do it. Those are two bad signings in your starting rotation. So look at the value that they spent on that, which is preventing them from doing other things. That's a mess. That's why I'd rather have the shorter contracts and take a chance on, hey, you know what? Frankie Montas, he may stink. He could do the same thing Carlos Rodon did with the 4 ERA or just under 4 ERA. Like, there's better value there. That's why I say then Cashman made a little bit of a mess here. And I would keep Marcus Stroman myself. You already paid him. There's going to be that. At some point, you're going, what if Cole goes down? What if Rodon goes down? Then what? Then you're going to dig into the minors as opposed to Stroman?
Sure.
Or pay Stroman?
I don't think Stroman can get guys out for a team that's trying to win a World Series. I don't think he's good. Listen, if he was more serviceable, so I'm going to give you this. If he was better than he is now, I don't think I'd be so aggressively saying that he needs to go. But he is no longer good. He's basically batting practice. And he's telling the manager and the organization, I'm not doing anything other than what I want to do. Unacceptable.
So then you admit that it was a mistake signing him?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, well, at least we're getting there. That's what I'm saying.
But what does that matter? Like,
it does matter.
No, it doesn't. No, Sal. Mistakes. Now, I give you it was a mistake. But to me, mistakes only matter if they prevent you from moving forward.
It is.
No, they were in the World Series, and they've got a great rotation.
No.
What are you missing?
What are you missing?
Nothing.
They're paying Marcus Stroman $18 million this year.
And they can't wait to get rid of him. And the first chance they have, they will.
Yeah, but they're not spending that money elsewhere.
Yeah, but Sal,
they had to go cheap at first base because they didn't want to spend more on Christian
Walker. Cheap at
Walker,
first base. The first baseman they brought in is going to be better than the guy they had last year. Who made more money?
No, okay, I know. I've heard this story before.
But
Everything the Yankees do is the greatest.
No, I didn't say that.
No, losing Juan Soto is going to be great.
So why you pull all this other stuff in?
Because
we're talking about the staff.
No, we're talking about the team. We're talking about the whole Yankee team.
I love the team except third base. You know that.
The old Yankees. Yeah, okay, but if they weren't paying Stroman $18 million a year, which I said was a mistake 2 years ago, you loved it. I didn't like it.
I didn't love it. I liked it. I didn't love it.
You liked the Stroman signing.
It's okay. It's fine.
We can go back and go over it, and that's fine.
He's fine.
Whatever. But now it's just get rid of him.
Yes.
No, it's not that simple because the Yankees don't operate
like that. No, it is that simple.
He's
He's no longer a good teammate at this point.
Yeah.
Sal, when you don't do your job, or at least you would. Now, it's one thing. I'd be more okay with this. If he went into Boone's office and Cashman said, hey, listen, I'm not going to the bullpen. And eventually, like, that leaked out, but he wasn't so brazen about it. Who the hell do you think that you are to tell me what you're going to do when it's my team?
But they didn't ask.
Not happening.
They didn't ask him
We
yet.
don't care what you want to do. You're not good enough to do what you want to do.
And then here's my
So now
counter.
you got to just do what we tell you, or you got to go.
Here's my counter. You signed me to be a starting pitcher, did you not?
Correct.
Okay. So I'm here. So you're paying me $18 million.
I'm still going to pay you. I'm still going to pay you. I'm not trying to take money out of your pocket.
I'm a starting pitcher. So he has a great relationship with Boone. He has a great relationship with the player. Like, they paid him to be a starting pitcher.
Correct.
I don't think what he said today was toxic by any stretch.
What?
The Yankees didn't ask him to go to the bullpen. A reporter asked, would you be pitching out of the bullpen? Because right now on paper, like there's a he said, I'm a starter. And he is a starter.
But then he also said, I'm not going to the bullpen. You don't
Correct.
think that... You don't
he
think
said, I'm not going to the bullpen.
Yeah.
They didn't ask him yet.
So that's even more aggressive. He volunteered it.
He said, I'm a starter. I'm not pitching out of the bullpen. I'm a starter. He is.
But he's not a good one. Yeah. So which means he's not a starter on a team that, you could go start on the Royals. Go start on the Tigers. Go start on the Reds. You ain't start on the Yankees.
And you want the Yankees, you want the Yankees just pay him to go away.
I would love now. That's where I know they won't.
Okay.
Of course, I wish that they would.
But they can't find a trade partner for him, so what are you going to do?
Well, they're going to have to eat more of the money than they previously communicated in previous conversations with teams that they were trying to deal him to.
And for what? Just to make him go away?
No, to then open up some more money to address third base. There's two things here. Number one, to go away. Now, and by the way, Sal, if the way to handle this would have been very simple. Hey, guys, listen. I've been a pitcher for a while. I'm proud of my career.
Right.
We've got a heck of a team. We got to figure this out. Of course, I'm not thrilled that I might not be a starter right now, but we got to figure it out.
Right.
He came in. He just set the place ablaze. I ain't going to the bullpen. No, you might be if you're still here.
Yeah, I mean, I know if you read it like that and interpret it like that.
But that's what he said.
Yeah, but he was asked a question, would you be okay with going to the bullpen? He said, no, I'm a starter. I mean, that's it. It wasn't Cashman saying you need to be a starter. It wasn't. And by the way, Gleyber Torres did the same thing a year ago. So Boone is not going to try to Stroman is not going to the bullpen. He's not going to be good out of the bullpen.
He's not going to be good in the rotation.
No, but we don't know that.
No, we do. We saw him last year.
Okay.
And we've seen, by the way, we saw a second half with you guys. We've seen enough second halves here. We'll get the calls. We've seen enough second halves here where we know at this point who Marcus Stroman is. And he's no longer good enough to make his own rules. That's all I'm saying. I mean, there's still got to be a team element here.
BT and Sal on the Fan. Our friends at Town Fair Tire remind you that at Town Fair Tire, you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Starting out this Valentine's Day with a little fire
spice.
Here.
Let's go.
Steve is in Bayside.
What's baseball,
up,
Sal.
What's up, Steve?
What's going on, guys?
Stevie.
Couple of points about the Yankees. First of all, Marcus Stroman, when you look at what scrap heap starters we're getting on the open market this year, he's barely overpaid. You have guys like Frankie Montas, Verlander, Scherzer, who coming off of terrible seasons, all getting between $15 and $17 million. So do the Yankees need to eat some money? Yeah, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. The other thing is, the Yankees, I think the way they're approaching this, they want to see, I know, BT, you're not going to love this.
Good.
They want to see what they have with LeMahieu. They want to see what they have internally. The external options either weren't happening or were pretty much equivalent to what they had. So they say, you know what, let's play this out. Let's see what happens for the first month or two of the year, and they will address third base. I have full confidence that Brian Cashman will address third base at some point.
Yeah, and by the way, and Steve, thanks for the call. By the way, they tried, this came out, I forget exactly when, fairly recent, but the Yankees were seriously thinking about designating DJ LeMahieu for assignment. And basically Judge and a few veterans are like, don't do it. And they didn't. They kind of acquiesced there. So they were already prepared to do that. And his contract's not up this year. It's up after next year, I believe. So they're willing to bite the bullet. Eventually, I think they're going to bite the bullet with Stroman, I hope. Listen, we know one of the things, we love Boone, we're getting to know him a little bit. He's a really good guy. But one thing that bothers me about Boone is that he coddles players. And, it's never.
Oh, maybe publicly.
That's what I mean, publicly. He never really projects anger or forcefulness, I think, in situations that call for it, whether it's Torres or Donaldson, Pimpin, whatever the situation might be, in the last couple of years. If you listen to what he said about Stroman, you could tell that he's pissed off. Like, he played a card. Even though he wasn't raising his voice or going over the top, he was like, yeah, of course I prefer that he was here. And yeah, I don't like, he said enough to know that the Yankees are very bothered by Stroman's actions.
Well, now, and Cashman speaking today, I think at 1 o'clock, so we could hopefully get some of that sound up for you. But now we know that the Yankees, so Stroman said what he had to say, and now we wait for the Yankees to respond and see what they're going to say. Because as of now, we could assume, like, it's funny, you sit here on February 14th and say, well, there's no spot in the rotation for him. He's got to go. Yeah, well, what happens if Clark Schmidt is feeling something, or Luis Heel, or Rodon, they're feeling something? Now, all of a sudden, you need a starter. And if you're trying to win a World Series and, be the best team in the American League, you're just going to go dip in the minors again and then have, an unknown be making some starts as opposed to a guy you're paying $18 million for? Like, you're already spending that money anyway. You might as well keep him here and see if you could use him, or maybe send somebody else down for a little bit and save their arm for half the season. Like, what your roster is on opening day or the first couple of months doesn't mean that's going to be the case come October.
100%.
Stroman, there's no chance he's going to be pitching in October for the Yankees. He didn't do it last year, so there's no chance. But it doesn't mean you can't ride this out and see if you could just maximize your value of him now, or also find a better deal. I don't think you need to do something just because he said what he said today.
Well, and by the way, everything that Sal just said, I would agree with until Stroman. We're just interpreting how he said and what he said very differently. If Stroman came out with a different delivery yesterday, not that I would say Stroman should start, because I don't think he's good at all at this point, but I would not be saying the Yankees need to jettison him. But when you are no longer effective and substandard based on, just relative to your peers in Major League Baseball, and statistically he clearly is, he's just not very good anymore. Well, and now you don't have the right attitude. Now I'd rather see a kid in the minors who might have similar stuff. It's a sunken cost. I mean, If you thought that he could still perform, all right, you take it on the chin, you look the other way, and you grit your teeth, you say, all right, we wish he would have said something different, but he could still help us. I don't really think that they think that he can help them anymore, and neither do I.
BT and Sal on the Fan. We'll come back. More of your calls on the Yankees.
Lacana.
I like it. 888-808-1019 is the number to call. The Slam Dunk in Vegas is live. I need some of that sometimes. Come on,
I
BT.
love
You
it.
gotta have it.